for me, I think there are a few things, and especially going into a presidential year where a lot more folks pay attention to politics, and it's part of the business of being an in office. You have to run for office, right? I really would like to. I'd like to help people, encourage people to think about things like, how can we bring back more civility in politics? How can we elevate our dialogue? How can we be aware that the rhetoric and the tone, the rhetoric we use and the tone that we use really are setting a stage for how people respond to us and our ideas, and especially in a crucial year like 2016, where we'll have folks voting for elected office at every level, from the most local to President of the United States. How can we as voters, as citizens, as everyday folks have an influence on the tenor of politics in our nation? And really, at the end of the day, get back to this idea of not government is someone else and it's far away from me, but the fact that we are a government of our people and by our people and for our people, and we all have to have a role in making sure that the government that that is working for us at the local, state, and federal level is the government that we really want. So much of what we do it's complicated. It's not just a really simple, one question, one answer. It's often a very diverse path to get to the end result. And so there have been times in my life, and I talk often about the work that I did in a bipartisan way on the Great Lakes Compact and water withdrawal legislation with a woman who at the time was my partner in the Senate. I was in the House as the House chair of the Great Lakes and Environment Committee. My Republican colleague, Patty Burkholz, was a senator who chaired the Senate Natural Resources Committee. And we're very different backgrounds, very different women. My district was very urban and very liberal. Her district was very rural and very conservative. And in working on that legislation, we found that we needed to talk to each other every single day and really just be upfront about what we could and couldn't do for moving forward on the legislation. And so that was one of the best things that we had, because we developed that relationship. We weren't close before then. We didn't know each other. So it wasn't like we were girlfriends that had a way of working together. We built a relationship by every time there was a question, looking each other in the eye or talking to each other on the phone and saying, this is what I'm going to do, and then proving it when we had a committee meeting. And I find that works really well. It's just to be straightforward. This is what this is what I'm going to do. This is the piece I can deliver, and I'm going to do it. And so I think that over time has become what people expect from me. But on the other hand, I also am very respectful of where people come from, because I know that in representative government, right, you're likely to get that leader who represents what the bulk of the people in their community have for values and what they feel. And so even if I completely disagree with what my colleagues are trying to do, I always focus on the policy itself. I focus on the solution, what the problem is we're trying to address, the pathway that is being taken toward that. Never personal, never about them or their district, their personality. And I think that helps a lot too. It's interesting because it's a very strange phenomenon when people hear that I'm the most liberal member of the state Senate for the longest number of years ever recorded in history since they started tracking these votes for 30 years, and then also get these accolades for being bipartisan, working across the aisle, getting complex pieces of legislation passed with very bipartisan support. They say, how did these things work? I wish it was an easy formula. I could just say, just do it. A couple of things that we've already talked about that I think really have an impact on that success is that I really just value people where they're coming from, and I really look for solutions or answers to sort of the next bend in the road in the policy from wherever it comes from. I've had great ideas that come from interns from high school, and great ideas that come from retired members of the community where I live and my colleagues across the aisle. So just really being open to listen to what the solutions might be, and to be always, like I said, critical of a policy or intended consequences or unintended consequences, but not critical of the person. And I think that has helped a lot. But also, I think I look at the job. I'm an elected official. I'm a public servant. I love what I do, but it's a job, right? The people of my district vote for me and essentially hire me to do this job for them. And they love it that I'm liberal. It represents their values. The folks that I represent are often quite proud of the voting record I have and the issues I stand up for. But they also want me to go to work every day and do something to make the state a better place. That's what I firmly believe. I don't think they want me to just go and be the liberal vote, the lone no vote, or something like that. And so I take seriously that if there's any space that I can move the state forward in, with whoever I can do that with, I have to take that opportunity because that's the job. And it can be challenging at times with people that you might disagree with on a lot of issues, right? I have some colleagues that are as conservative as I'm liberal on the political spectrum, and we might disagree on 90% of the issues or 99% of the issues. But in that 1 to 10% where we agree, I'm going to put the blinders on to all the places we don't agree and try to do something to move Michigan forward.